So here within the IntelliJ IDE, let us clean up our code. And now in this demo video, what I will do is, I will simply delete the class of dog and also the rectangle that we created in our previous videos, right? So let us right click and delete the file. Click on OK. So there we go, we are only left with main.java file. Now so far within one file, we just had one class, such as here we have the class of main. Now within one file, you can create multiple class as well, such as public class of, let's call it dog. And also you can create another class such as public class of cat. Now the only restriction is that within one file you can only have one class as public. So here we cannot have the class of dog as public. So let us remove it. Because within one Java file, that is main.java, we can just have one class as public, such as public class of main in our case. Rest of the class should not have any public modifier. Now within the class of dog, let us write our code. String name, string color, our bark method, and run method. Similarly, within the class of cat, let us write our code. And at last, our run method. Now, if you notice in both the case of dog and cat, you will find some similarity. Here we have string name and again we have string name. And also we have some common behavior of run in both the case. Now, why don't we do one thing? Why don't we apply the concept of inheritance and remove the code that are repeated? So for that, I will create a class of animal. And within the class of animal, I will define this string name that is common to both the dog and cat. Cut it and paste it here. And now from the cat as well, remove it. And also let us cut the behavior such as run and paste it within the class of animal. Similarly, from the class of cat, let us remove it. So now our code is looking little more cleaner, right? Now, within the class of dog, I want all these properties and behavior such as name and run. So what I will do is, followed by class of dog, I will use the extends keyword, extends, and then use the animal class. So this statement simply means that the class of dog will now get all the property and the behavior of the class of animal. So we no longer need to write the name and run within the class of dog here again, right? In the same fashion, let us use cat extends animal. So now we are good to go. Now within the main.java, that is within the main method, let us define dog space dog equal to new dog. And now when we use the reference variable of dog dot, then you will find the color, run, bark and name all in one. So here you can define dog.name equal to, let's say, Labrador. And then again dog.color equal to, let's say, black. Now you must be wondering that in our previous topic I told you never try to use the instance variable directly with the help of reference variable, right? Well, that is true. You should never use it like this. You should always try to create the getter and setter for each of the field variable, such as for string name, string color and string pattern. But right now, just for the sake of simplicity, I am using the instance variable directly. So here let us write a comment line in bold letters. Note, always use the getters and setters. Since this is the tutorial for the concept of inheritance, so that is why I am not using the getter and setter. But in future, always remember to use getter and setter wherever possible. This is actually the recommended approach. Now you can also call the behavior of the dog, such as make a dog to bark, and then also make a dog to run, like this. Now notice here that the instance variable of name and the method of run are actually present within the class of animal. But with the help of dog object, we are able to access the name and run method respectively, right? Just because of the concept of inheritance. Now in the same fashion, you can use the cat object as well and use cat dot name Persian cat. This is one of the breed of the cat. Cat dot pattern equal to, let's say, tabby. And then you can also call the behavior of the cat, such as cat can meow and cat can run. Now if you run the code right now, let's see what happens. So here we go, woo woo, dog is running, meow meow, and again dog is running. So here I guess I have done some mistake. Let us get back to the code of animal. And within the class of animal, here instead of dog, let us use animal, right? Let us now run the code again. And there we go, our code is now working perfectly fine. Now you must be thinking, for the case of dog, why we have animal is running? Because we should get dog is running, right? Similarly, in case of cat, we should get cat is running. Now this is simply because when this statement is executed dog.run, the compiler will simply look for the run method. Now, since the run method is only present within the class of animal, that is here, so that is why this method is executed, that simply prints out animal is running. Now similarly, in case of cat as well, when this statement is executed, the compiler will simply look for the best possible match for the method. Now, since the run method is not present within the cat class, so it will simply look for the run method within the class of animal, that is the superclass. So within the superclass of animal, here we have the run method. So that is why in both the case we have animal is running being printed. Now there must be a question popping out in your mind. Is it possible to print dog is running or cat is running respectively in both the case? Yes, of course it is possible, but for that you have to check out my next topic. For this topic, let it be animal is running. Now, let us take our discussion one step ahead. If I create the object of, let's say, animal, then what are the properties and methods that we will be able to access? So let us use animal reference variable dot, and there we go, we have only two options. Either the name of the animal, let's call it my animal, and then animal can only run. Now if you want to make animal dot bark or animal.mew, then you won't be able to do it. Just because within the class of animal we just have one property and one method, that is name and run, right? So we cannot have an animal, bark or mew because those properties are specific to the subclass of dog and cat. It is only the class of cat and dog that can access the properties of the animal, just because we are inheriting the properties of animal into these classes, right? But the animal class is a superclass or the parent class. So a parent class can only access its own properties. It cannot access the child class properties. So always remember this. So this is how we apply inheritance in Java.